See if anything is coming up yet. Says we're live and that it's recording, but I don't trust anything. So I'm going to just ramble for the next few moments to see if we are live or not. Oh my goodness. Says we're live. Says we're live. Oh, that's me. I wish, we could just love technology all the time, but unfortunately, okay. All right, I see 8 people that may be watching this. If I could get if somebody could just comment on a post and verify whether this is working or not, that would be cool. Tuesdays have become some stressful days at the Taylor household. We are doing something a little different today. The setup down in my basement is insane, number one. I have a laptop here, I've got my phone here, my phone there, and then I've got this screen going on behind me. So we're gonna make sure that everything's functioning appropriately. I do have an interesting story to tell. Mostly because I know that no matter what happens today with this live stream, it won't be the worst thing that happened to me today. So this morning, like that nice little peaceful time in the morning where like the sun's just coming up, the birds are chirping, and you're really peaceful, you're still laying in bed, and everything just kind of feels right with the world before everything just hits you right in the face. I got to live in that moment for like 0.2 seconds before my wife started screaming, and I didn't know what was happening, and she's very pregnant, so I immediately went to the worst. And what I did was jump out of bed immediately. I ran into the living room as quickly as I possibly could, and I should maybe rewind a little bit. Everything's okay. We've got 2 lovely dogs that are not lovely all of the time, and I have been doing a lot of painting the last couple days. So I just finished up painting the nursery yesterday, and our garage is a mess, and there's paint cans everywhere, and there's rollers laid out, and it's pretty much a danger zone for everyone involved. But this morning, one of the dogs got a little crazy, stepped in some paint, not on one foot, but on all 4, and ran in the house. There's little tiny white footprints down the hallway, across the carpet, on the hardwood, on the laminate. It's everywhere. And my pregnant wife is screaming and chasing the dog around, trying to catch her. Well, my dog is very skittish, and so therefore is running even faster than intended. So that's what I got to do with this morning. And so that being said, no matter how today goes, I know that I already did the worst thing that could possibly happen today. So, oh my gosh, 80 people watching. There's no way that 80 people have that much, interest in my day-to-day life. Of course you don't. That's not why you're here. You are here to learn about getting started with Canva, which is probably my favorite thing on the internet. I spend a lot of time on Canva, not just doing stuff for work, but sometimes just poking around because I think that it's a nice creative outlet for those people that kind of like to play around with graphic design. So if you're new to graphic design, or if you have a Facebook page that you're in charge of posting all the time, or maybe you have an Instagram account, Canva is a really interesting way for you guys to be able to create your own content. So if you've never been to Canva before, it's just canva.com, Canva. If you have trouble accessing it, feel free to message us on Facebook, and we'll send you the link to it. So real quick, I want to talk about the 2 versions that they have. So there is a free version. Free version is awesome. There's a lot of amenities that come along with it. And then there's also a paid version. we use it a lot at the library, so we are using the paid version. So some of the things that I'm going to show you today may not come standard with the free version. The paid version is $25 a month, so it's no chump change, that's for sure. But if it's something that you're utilizing a lot, that is always something to consider. There's a lot of really awesome things that you can do with the free version, though. That being said, I use Canva on my laptop. They do have an app on your phone that you're able to download. I do have the app downloaded. However, it's so much easier to do everything that you're trying to do when you're working from a laptop or a desktop. Trying to do things on your phone, it's hard to, zoom in to make sure everything's, centered and looking just right. So that's something that is, it's obviously everybody's own opinion on whether they want to do stuff on their phone or on a laptop, or whether you have access to those different technologies. But if you do have a laptop that you're able to do some of that work on, I suggest it. You can do a lot more stuff, and it opens up quite a bit of content that you're able to provide. So let's see. So I covered the free or the paid. I'm going to go over a lot of the free stuff today just so you guys can get a hang of how Canva works. I'm also, like I mentioned, I'm using new technology today, so I'm going to try to be vigilant about going back and forth between what I'm seeing on my screen and what you guys are able to, see my beautiful shining face. So without further ado, I want to show you what Canva looks like. And so this is the Canva homepage. It's just www.canva.com. And if you come here, the first thing you're going to want to do is create a login. So you will create one. Mine is this lovely H Taylor 294 right over here. The most basic way to get started is to click this create a design. And so it's going to pull up some suggested ones. These are the ones that I do most frequently. I make a lot of presentations and a lot of Facebook posts and a lot of event covers. However, you can use the search bar just like you would use a Google search bar. So something that you might type in is a flyer. And so what happens is it's going to give you options for those different templates. So you can do a flyer, you can do a landscape flyer, and they've got lots of really crazy stuff. A dance flyer, why not, right? So if you are looking for something really specific, there's also logo help. There is, like I said, presentations. There are really just all sorts of stuff. If you're doing a lot of stuff on Twitter, you can just type in Twitter, and there's a bunch of stuff on here that are the correct pixel sizes. That way you're not getting too confused with different images on different social medias. You want to make sure that they're the correct size, and Canva really helps with that. For the sake of clarity today, I want to do a Facebook post, and we'll create one together. So you will click on Facebook post, and it will get us going here. The Wi-Fi in my home really loves all the devices being on it all at once. So real quick, those are some of the things that you can create. If we're gonna create this Facebook post, Easter's right around the corner. So if we wanna make a happy Easter to all of our customers from Square One Facebook post, then we've got all these options over here on the left-hand side. So the templates up at the top, that's gonna give you, especially for beginners, this is a really great tab to look at. They're already pre-made templates. So if we see, coronavirus is obviously really popular right now. So if you wanted to create a post that had to do with the coronavirus outbreak, you'd be able to look at some of these that people have already created. So that is one way that we can do something like that. Or we can come back down here. We can scroll through a bunch of these. For whatever reason, the Halloween one is usually always up at the top. Gotta love Halloween. We can come down here. There's a lot of food stuff. I love the templates. I think they're a really great way to at least get started. Something that I do kind of want to warn about, let me kind of click back over here real quick. So something that is maybe not the best thing about Canva is that when people use templates and they don't change them to match their own personality or brand, then you're getting a lot of different people posting the same type of thing on social media. So it's really important that if you're going to use a template, you do alter it to your color scheme, to maybe your typography, really make it your own. You know, switch out the photos, switch out the logos, just really make sure that you're not using the exact template and you're just saving it and sending it off to your Facebook page, because there's no creativity in that, right? And that we want to make sure that everything you're posting on your social media page really matches your brand and your personality. So let's go back to our screen real quick. And like I said, I really like starting with the blank page. And one of the first things we can do is come down here to background. So if we click on a background, we can, we've got options for different colors up here. We can scroll through all these colors, or if you have a specific color in mind, you can click this button here on the left, and that's gonna let you open up, you know, the plethora of all the colors of the lovely rainbow. We can look at all of those. It's also going to give you some photographs. So if you want to look at different landscapes, lots of different patterns, these gradients are really fun. So if we're looking at, you know, something kind of, we want something soft in the background, but still taking up, you know, some color, we can click on something like this. I do want to mention that you've got some photos over here as well. These are stock photos that are completely free to use. So you can also search, let's search for Easter on some photos. We get a lot of great pictures here. So I really like this one. This one's really cute. When we click on a photo, it's going to automatically go over to your screen. And you see these little tabs over here at the top. That's going to help you stretch that image. Another thing we can do, these in the corner are gonna help stretch that image as well. So what I like to do is click the middle of this picture and drag it up to one of the corners. And you can see that when I do that, these purple lines help let me know that I've hit the corner. And that's really important for me to know, because I don't want you know, some white on the edges of an image. I wanna make sure that I'm really hitting the end of the photo. Then I can drag this down. And now I've got this, you know, lovely little background that I've created from some of the photos that are listed over here. And the next thing we can do, right, is put some text on that. So if we come back over here to our little screen, we've got a box that says text. When I get, you know, I've already mentioned the Canva look, right? So people, these are gonna default unless you go through and you edit those to match your brand. These are the default headings, the default text settings. So I typically like to use the add a heading. This is the biggest one that you've got an option for. You know, it's still really small on that screen. So what I like to do is click on that, make it quite a bit bigger, and then I can drag that over. And again, you see that it's letting me know that I'm centered. I'm right in the middle. So if I wanted to put this smack dab in the middle of this image, I'm going to find that vertical line and I'm going to drag it down until I find that purple line as well. And there is right in the middle. Another thing that I like to do is sometimes let it sit on top of that purple line a little bit, because we've got so much activity coming down here at the bottom. So we've got our text on here. Let's make it a little more interesting than add a heading. We can say, Happy Easter, exclamation point. Very unique and awesome. Again, I want to talk about some of the text, right? If we're not going to change this font, it's going to look really similar to everyone else's Canva image that they're using if they don't default to another typography. So what you're going to want to do, if we click over, we're going to click back on our text, and you've got this drop-down menu up at the top. Now, if we click on this, we've got just the most fonts that you could ever imagine. And we can scroll down here and we can try to find something that we like. What I like is we're able to click on different things, see how it looks. I don't know about that one. Let's try this one. That one's, you know, really fun and unique. We can scroll down. I mean, you can waste a lot of time looking at different types of fonts on Canva. I certainly have. Another thing that's really interesting with the fonts is that we can type in the search bar again. Now, if you know the specific name of the font, great, we're able to search for it there. But it gives you these options that are kind of like feelings for fonts. So if you're looking for something handwritten, we can type in handwriting, and all of a sudden it gives us a lot of these script looking fonts. So if we wanted something kind of little kitty, this finger paint, right, looks like somebody, you know, let their 4-year-old do some finger paint on here. So that's an option for us as well. We can come back over here and search for different text. if we do a drop down, sometimes I like to type in feelings. So if I'm looking for something kind of sports or athletic, it's going to give me something that, you know, we might see on a sports jersey or at a high school football field. And I think that's really interesting because we don't always know the type of font that we want. We don't always know the name of it, but if we can kind of type in some feeling, we're able to do that. Really quick on fonts, I want to show you guys on this homepage on Canva, down here, this says brand kit. If we click on brand kit, what we can do is we can change those brand fonts. So these aren't going to be your default. If you go through and you find a font that you really like, you might come down here and change those fonts out. So they're going to default to the top. Another thing you can do is upload your own font. So if there's a font that you've found online that you can download that file, go ahead and upload it here. And that's going to allow you to, you know, Canva has 1,000 different fonts, but the internet is, you know, they've got millions of fonts. So find something that really suits you and you're able to upload it right there. Another thing on this brand kit while I'm at it is that you can add your logos here, so they're always available to you. You can save your brand colors, and I'll start talking a little bit more about color here in a moment. But you've got this option on here to make sure that you've got everything saved, especially if you have more than one person accessing this Canva account and more than one person posting on your Facebook page. So let's go back to our Facebook post here. Well, it's Easter and it's spring, and I'm not sure that I love the black font, so I might come over here. This is going to be my text color. If I click on that, you can see here that these are my brand colors. So if I wanted to go along with something square one, I can use that blue color. Something interesting that they do on here as well is because we've uploaded this photo to our image, it's showing us the colors that are used in this picture. So if we wanted to really match the color that was down here, we can try one of these different font colors as well. For now, I kind of like this pink looking one. Now, if we're looking at this, like I'm looking at this, it seems kind of flat. So something that I like to do, and maybe this is a tip or trick for, you know, people that want to play around with a little more, is first of all, I'm going to make this a little bigger. I'm going to come back over and center it. And the spacing up here, see how much space is between these two words? I would like that to shrink down a little bit. So if I go over here to spacing, I can either change the spacing of the letters between each other, make them a little closer together, really, really far apart. And something else I can do is change the spacing of the line height. So I can make that a little closer together, and that way everything is nice and really close together there. So another thing that I like to do to give it a little depth is use this duplicate button. So whatever you have highlighted, which I have this text highlighted right now, if I click this duplicate button, it does exactly what we think it's going to do, right? It makes a copy of it. Now it's going to default to be on top of the previous one. Now what I like to do is take this and change that font color to something else, maybe something a little darker. And now we can see that there's two very different text boxes here. If I take the one that I've got selected right now and I go over here to position, it's going to let me put that behind the original text. Now using your, you can either use your mouse or you can use the arrow keys on your computer. You can move this around, and if you get it really, really close to the original text and offset it just a little bit, we've created a little more depth with that text. And so this is something that I like to do. It's definitely not something that you always have to do, but if you've got something really flat like we do right now, this helps that text pop a little bit. So another thing we can do, and I want to show you guys this really quick, we've got two separate images here right now, right? So if I click on this, it's not gonna move them together, it's gonna move them separately, and that's not what we're after, right? We want to make sure that when we move this, we're moving both items. So if we click on that one behind it, and then we hold down our shift key, and we click on the top one, it's gonna highlight both of them. Now you've got this option to group. So by clicking group, it has now taken these two different text boxes and it's made it one text box that I can move around without losing that depth. So we can move it over here, we can, you know, just take it off to the side, we can delete it, we can do whatever we would like with it. But we've grouped it, so now we don't have to worry about it moving around on us. Let's see, what else? So if I come back over here, I want to show you guys some of the elements that we have available to us. So elements are kind of like icons or clip art. There's a lot of different things under elements. Something that I used just really recently is this photograph image, and I want to show you what that looks like. When I click on that, it gives me this like old school photograph, and I can move that around. I can do whatever I'd like with it. You know, if I want to make it really, really small, I can move it over here, and I can move this around, you know, make sure that I'm getting the right angle that I want on it. Let's say that I want to move that up here, and I want to move this down here. Happy Easter. Now see this blue sky image in this background of this picture. What that means, this is not the default, you don't have to keep it just like this, but what we can do, we can come back over here to photos, and let's say I want to type in a bunny. Oh, this lovely picture of this bunny, I like this one. So I can take this and drag it over into our image. And all of a sudden, it looks like I've taken a picture of this bunny. And so this is something that's really kind of interesting. I use this a lot. This is what's called a frame. So if we go back over here to our elements, we've got grids. So if you have ever used Instagram, you know, these are keeping those grids in those nice boxes. We've got lots of shapes. This is a frame. So again, if we look at all of the frames available to us, we can use, you know, this desktop looking frame, and we can do the exact same thing. I don't love that as a part of our Happy Easter post, but we can see that there's a lot of different frames that we're able to use in our post. So you're able to search through those as well. There's a lot of these little stickers. So stickers are new to Canva, and they're little animations. So instead of downloading this image as a JPEG or a PNG file, what you would do is download it as a GIF or an animation or a video, and then you could post it to Facebook as a video. So if you wanted to use these little stickers, you are obviously very capable of doing that. You've got different charts, so if you're wanting to create, you know, some type of graphic, you can use Excel to, you know, put those numbers in. There's a lot of stuff on here, definitely more than we can kind of cover in the time we've got today. But under elements, if I searched for bunny, just like I searched in photos, this is going to give me clip art images of bunnies, or, you know, cartoon images of bunnies. If I go back over to photos and I typed in bunnies, you can see the difference, right? So these are photographs and these are clip arts. So just so everybody is aware of the difference between photos and elements, you're able to search on both of those. Another feature, this button up here is going to let you filter. So if we typed in, let's type in Easter egg. We've got a lot of options here. I can come over here and I can say, well, I'm looking for something that's blue. I want, you know, just blue Easter eggs. And then it's going to give me all of the blue Easter eggs that we can possibly handle. So that's another way to kind of help with your searches, is going through and helping with some of that. We can look at the animations. We can say, I want only the free images. If you have a paid version, then you're not going to need to worry about this availability. But if you're looking for just the free stuff, you want to make sure that you're clicking that free box right there and applying that filter. Let's go ahead and clear that. So we have our, let's go back to Easter egg, and we can, you know, click one of these and we can make it bigger. We can tilt it a little bit and move it over here. Again, you know, it's on top of something. So if we want to mess with the position, we can put it back behind it. This is definitely not the world's best Facebook post, but for the sake of showing you how everything works, we're just going to move some stuff around here. Let's go ahead and delete that. We can move this back up. Let's move our little bunny down here. Move our Happy Easter. So if we come back over here, again, if we're working with some of the videos or if we're doing something a little more involved, there's free stock music over here and there's free stock video on this side as well. Another thing I want to draw your attention to is this upload function. So if we click on uploads, we can see it's basically working with your computer to upload the images that you have saved. So you can see that I just recently uploaded the Square One logo, and I can click on that. It's going to default to our post over here. I can, mess with the height of that, the size of the image. I can move that around. If you want to brand all of the stuff that you put out on social media, sticking a logo, in one of the corners is always a good idea, just to keep the branding really consistent. Of course, it's not something that you're forced to do, but if it's if it's something that you're a stickler about, you've got that option. So you are gonna be able to upload all sorts of images here. Again, with this bunny image, we used one that they already had in photos, but if I wanted to here's Rebecca Goobles. I just recently used her in an image. I can throw her in my little photograph down here. And you can see that we've got a lot of options here, right? We can upload as much as we want, as less as we want. We can go through and we can clean these out. So if we wanted to select a bunch of these, we can go through and we can delete those out of there, save yourself, time scrolling through a lot of that stuff. Let's see, some of the other things I wanted to talk about is, let me go through and delete some of these things. Back over here, I want to talk on photos just a little more. So I really like this image here. Let me go ahead and change my background to a white background. I'm going to move this over. So this bunny, right? This is a very cute little bunny. Something that we can do with this image is under effects. So effects is going to give you, just like it sounds like, lots of different effects that we can use on this image. My favorite thing to do is this background remover. So if I click on that, it's gonna, try to discover that background a little bit, and it's going to essentially take that blue away from that image, and we are left with this random little little bunny that looks really strange without a background on it. But I only bring that up, and I'm gonna switch back over here really quick. Sometimes when we download our own logos, or if somebody's created a logo for us, if we're trying to use someone else's logo, when they email that to us or they text it to us, a lot of times that logo is on a white background. And then when we stick that whole entire image on another image, there's that white box around the logo, and it doesn't always look great. So use Canva as a way to remove that white background, and so you're left with just the PNG version of that image, and you're able to move it around without that square white background in the back. I know that I've had that problem in the past, and this is a function of Canva that I've really, really enjoyed, being able to remove the backgrounds, not only on the logos, but lots of different images that you might want to use. Let's switch back over here real quick. I am going to try to answer as many questions as possible, and I know that Morgan is on trying to watch all those comments as well, so I will make sure to check those in just a moment. I also want to talk about the transparency function on Canva. So let's see. Let's do this little pink guy over here. I'm going to move that up. I'm going to pull this down, and then I'm going to scoot it over so we've got the full image of that bunny right there. I can make this smaller, maybe. Here we go. Make it a little smaller. Throw it up in the corner. Now, let's say that I wanted to go back over here to elements. Another thing that I really like to do is use the transparency function. So if I go and I want to throw a square up on this image, let's say that I want to put this down low. I'm going to stretch it across, bring it down a little bit. Well, this gray is kind of ugly, so let's go ahead and switch that out to something that we've already used. So I've used this purple as a background to that text box up there. Now, again, we get this like really flat looking image if I have that box down there, but what I can do is select that, come over here to this weird little box looking thing, and it says transparency. So if I click on that, it's gonna let me play with the percentage of transparency that I'm using on this image. So a great example, let me actually go back to some of my designs. this person, we have used, see this transparency that's letting you see the background of this image, but you're still able to see this text. Now, if I were to take that box away, right, we can't see the text anymore. But if I move it back over, it's giving me enough color in the background that I'm able to see this white text, but it's not so solid that I can't still see the three-dimensional quality of this image. So that's what the transparency function can do for you. We can obviously move this box around. We can move it up to the top. We can play around with the size of it. We can move it over here. It doesn't have to be a box at all, but you've got the options on the transparency function. And that's something that I really enjoy as well. Let's talk about moving images around. So I'm going to create a new page here. I'm going to delete my bunny. And let's say we're going to play with this coronavirus. Is it a nurse, a doctor? Who knows? Let's move him over here. Let's see what else we have under coronavirus. This guy's running. He looks very important. Okay. So let's say that I knew for sure that I wanted this guy over here. I didn't want to have to like mess with him moving around on me if I accidentally clicked my mouse on him. So what I can do is when he's highlighted, I can come over here and use this lock function. If I click on it, he's locked in place. No matter how many times I click on it and I try to drag him away, he's not going to move. And as someone who's a little clumsy with my mouse, this is actually a function that I use quite a bit because I want to make sure once I get it in the perfect spot that it's not shifting around on me. Just like sometimes I accidentally click on the side and I shrink something or my text gets a little funky, I can go through, lock it, and now I don't have to worry about that. So we can go through if we want to unlock it, just the same thing. We unlock it, we can delete it, we can do anything we want. So you're not going to accidentally delete it over here. All right, what else can I talk about? So we talked about the grouping of images. We talked about some uploads. I do want to mention this little button up here. So you saw that I just deleted that last post. What if I didn't mean to do that? I've got this little button up here that's undo. So I can click on that. Oh my goodness, thank goodness it has undid my mistake, and I can go back and I can make that coronavirus post that I was gonna have go out of my page. So the undo button has saved me multiple times. We also, if we know, oh, I meant to do that, we can go back and we can delete it. So use this button as often as you need to. Let's see, I do want to come back over here to, let's go back to text. I'm gonna highlight this. Real quick, I know that in some of my previous classes, I've talked about the necessity of branding online and how branding is a two-way street, and what we put out, you know, we have to make sure that we're consistent with the brand and the personality of our business. And if you are a larger organization, you probably have brand guidelines and you have the specific hex codes of your colors that you use and your logo and all of your materials that you might print out. If you're a smaller organization, you probably are like, my colors are red and blue, and I just kind of, I'm not very specific when it comes to the colors. I'm here to say that it is really important that you are specific with the colors that you use, because when you're posting a lot of stuff out of your Facebook page, the Mid-Continent logo, right? We have very specific colors, just like the Square One logo. If we look, you probably can't see it too well right now, but some of these colors on here, we have brand guidelines that tell us exactly what colors those are, that when we're on, Canva and we're using those images or those texts, and we can change the different color on those things, we can change them to our brand colors. And that's really, really important. So I want to show you guys how to type in the specific color you're looking for. So if I were to change this text here, I can go back up here to text color, and it's going to open up this option. So what I can do is I can type in, it gives me an example of this, this hex code, right? So let's say I type in this, let's see, OOC4CC. That is the color that it's giving me right there. So if you don't know what color your logo is, I suggest either asking the graphic designer that created it or going through that source file and discovering what color it is. There are a lot of websites that you're able to upload your image and it will tell you what color, what specific color is in that logo. Another thing that Canva does that's really interesting is it says, try blue. Okay, well, if I type in blue, it's going to give me its default to blue. Something that I like is that it's going to also give me these blue palettes. So they have gone through, just like if you were going to go to Menards or Home Depot and look at the paint swatches, it's giving you colors that work well together. So if you're looking, you're like, oh, I really like this color palette down here. I'm going to, apply that to what I've got going on up here. And all of a sudden we've used that palette on our design over here, and we can move that around a little bit. That being said, I think it's wildly important that we know what our brand colors are. Again, if we add those into our brand kit, those are going to come up right here. These are the square one colors, white, black, and this blue or teal. But that is really, really important to be consistent with your colors and with your branding. Again, it's really, it's important also to stay consistent with the typography that you use. So this one's called finger paint. Of course, this is a little different because it is talking about, it's Easter and it's maybe, fun and childlike and dreamlike and it's springy. There's a lot of different feelings associated with this type of font. But if we go through and we find, I have to, let me scroll down here. There is a font that I use pretty consistently, this Allegro, right? So they've got lots of different Allegras. There's this bold, the medium, then they've got the sans. If you're unfamiliar with different types of font, the sans mean it doesn't have those little like tick marks at the edges of the words. Let me ungroup that because that looks silly. So we can see that this is very, maybe a kind of proper or old English or, there's definitely a feeling that we get when we see something like this. But if we come back down here, and like I said, I like to do the Allegra so I can type in at least the beginning of that word. And I can use this bolded one down here, leg. If I click on this bolded one, all of a sudden it's a little bolder, maybe a little happier. This is something that I've defaulted to. It's going to go up and, there's 2 lines here. If I want just 1 line, all I have to do is stretch this out a little bit. And now I've got that all on 1 line, but oh no, it's too big. It's taking up more than I have allowed on here. So I can make that a little smaller. I can move that over. I can move it down here, kind of like that. Seems like it's meant to be there. And so this is something that you're able to play around with, really be creative. I know that I've been going for a little while now. I'm going to switch over and I'm going to see if you guys have any questions real quick. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you guys do. You guys have questions. So there's another function on Canva that I want to mention. There is a design school. So it's going to be one of the tabs on the website, and it's going to kind of go through some of the more basic qualities of Canva. Like, how can you use it? What colors go together? It's like graphic design school for beginners. I love it. I think it's awesome. And there's lots of different courses on there. So you can kind of progress through some of those classes. And there are ways for you to, I totally just lost my train of thought. There are, through the library, so Mid-Continent Public Library, hopefully a lot of you people watching have a library card. We've got lynda.com, which is LinkedIn Learning. I believe they're kind of switching the title there a little bit. But this LinkedIn Learning actually has a Canva class. So if you're familiar with lynda.com and that's something that you're excited about, if you have an hour of your time, you can go through, and it's going to go through some of the more basic aspects of Canva as well. Let me see. If I choose Facebook post, okay, let's see. Donna, if I choose a Facebook post when I start and the sizing is perfect. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I do want to go back. Let's go to the home page here. Click back on what we're doing over here. Let me switch back over. Okay, perfect. So again, you know, we can search lots of different designs. You know, we know that a Facebook post is a lot different. Facebook. So a Facebook ad is a different pixel size than a Facebook cover, which is different than an event cover, which is different than a post. So it is really important to pick specifically what you're going to use that for. Something that you can do with the paid version, I'm not positive on the free version, is if we really liked what we've created here, we can click this button up here that says resize. Now, I've got this as a Facebook post right now, but let's say that I want to resize it to maybe a Instagram post. So I want to make this a square. I can click on that. I say copy and resize it. It's going to pull it up in a different tab. And there we have it in the square form. So we see that the formatting's a little off. So what I can do is I can come down here, I can center everything once again, and now we've got that perfect square for Instagram. So that's an option that you've got as well to resize some of the stuff. I know that when we've done a lot of stuff on social media, sometimes we have a perfect image, we think it's really awesome, but then it's just the wrong size. And so maybe on a mobile version, it looks different than on a desktop. So this is a way for you to kind of make sure that all the sizes are perfect when you're creating those different posts. Obviously today we did a more fun like community engagement post by, you know, saying something about the holiday coming up. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do if you have a promotion that you're currently doing. If you're a restaurant that's doing curbside, get on Canva and let people know. Use the images that they have, use all the templates, play around with some of the stuff. Speaking of templates, let me actually go back here really quick. Flipping back and forth from all of these devices. If I want to create a design, let's create a presentation this time. So this is going to pull up the dimensions of a presentation, and a template presentation is going to give me, we can see it says 1 of 26, 2 of 26. So if I click on this, all of a sudden it's given me something that is all branded like this bright yellow. So if I click on this, I've clicked on the first one, right? So this is my title page of my presentation. I can change this text, excuse me, I can say square one is awesome. And I can come down here and say, you know, like proposal by Hannah the Great. So that's certainly not the date, but you've got the option to go through and change a lot of this stuff. So we see this yellow image on this background color. What we can do if we're using, you know, a template like this, we can go through, we can, you know, click on all of these different options and create that presentation. But if we want to get rid of this yellow color, we can come down here and we can, let's make everything purple. Weird. But if we change the color on one thing, I can come down here and I can say, I want to change all of the yellow that I've used in this presentation to that purple color. And now we can see that everything has changed to that purple color. But you're like, oh, but what about this yellow down here? So elements like these squares, and this is actually a square as well, is not the same thing as text. So I'm going to click on that yellow text right here, going to highlight that. I want to change it to purple as well. Again, I can change all, and now I can go through and I can see that everything got changed to that purple color. So that is one way that you are able to switch around the templates a little bit and really make it your own. Again, we can change the size of this font. Let's tone it down a little bit. It's 150, that's huge. Let's move it to 56, you know, something a little smaller. We can move these things up. We can see that this is grouped. If we want to ungroup it, we just come over here to that button. We can move those things around, and now I can move this as freely as I'd like. So that's one way to use the templates, but still kind of make it your own. We can get rid of those text boxes. We can get rid of that lemon. We can add in a different photo. So if we go back and we want to say, I search for business images a lot, which are always pretty wild. Something like this, we've got our purple background. If I move this over, it's really hard to see that white text. I can go back with my transparency, right? And I can make this almost translucent, right? But now I've got that texture behind the image, but now I've created this and I've made that template my own. I've maybe put something in that is not lemons. Lemons has nothing to do with square one, but this might have something to do with square one. So I'm able to, change things up. This is an image right here. Let's move this light bulb over there. We can move this presentation down a little bit and give us room to see that full image. We can mess with all these different points on here. You can see that really the options are endless. You have complete freedom to do whatever you want to do on Canva, which is really, really awesome. I know that I've talked about how great Canva is in the past. Hopefully this at least gets you started. What I would love for everyone to do, we've probably got a little more time on our hands than we would like, but get on Canva, create an account, create a free account first. Get to know that free version, play around with it, find something that you think looks good, download it, send it to a friend and say, hey, would this look good on my Facebook page? Would this look good on my LinkedIn account? Ask questions, get other people's opinions, and really, use this as a tool. We all have this idea that Facebook is this huge marketing and branding tool for us, and it is, but it's only one tool in your toolbox. Use all of these other things as well, and use the free stuff. Oh my gosh, use all the free stuff first before you go, hire a graphic designer to create something that maybe you could have created in the first place. That's not saying that, when you're creating a logo, logos are really important. You don't want to use a template when it comes to a logo because your logo is going to look like everyone else's. So definitely, keep your graphic designer in your back pocket. But when it comes to your social media, only the brand and the personality that you want to put out there into the community. So use Canva to help you with that, and find the shapes that you like, and find the colors that you like, and write it down. Remember it, because if your logo is red and blue, and you have been putting a bunch of red and blue stuff on your Facebook page, and all of a sudden you start using maybe a teal and a mahogany color, that's not your brand and it doesn't match. So try to stay consistent. Canva is a great tool to help you stay consistent with that. I'm gonna go back over here really quick, see if I can see some more questions. Jennifer, thanks for giving it another try. Canva can be really frustrating. So that's why it's really, really important to, one, make sure that you're in a good headspace to try something new. Trying something new is always really difficult. And especially if you're not tech savvy to begin with, it can be a little frustrating, but take the classes that are out there. Again, lynda.com and Canva has their classes available online. So use the tutorials that are available to you. And those are definitely going to help you out quite a bit. I'm going to go through some more of these. Let's see. Hopefully the video is a little more clear. Again, with all of my devices on this Wi-Fi, it's definitely a struggle. Let's see what else we have here. Thank you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm just blown away by the response that we've been getting from, these online classes. Not Canva specific, but I teach classes maybe once a month for the library, and those are in person, and sometimes we might have 2 people show up for those, and sometimes we might have 25 people show up for those, and it's always hit or miss. And Square One is very events based, right? We put on a lot of classes. We go out into the community. We go to networking events. We go to chamber meetings. We, go to luncheons, and we do all these awesome things out in the community, and we're shaking hands with people. And so this time has been difficult for us to try to transition, and knowing what we know now, that we still have the support of our community and, the Kansas City area, and even further out, there's been a lot of libraries sharing our content, and it really means a lot to us that we're able to still do our jobs and teach you guys things and, connect you with the resources that are available. It really means a lot. It means a lot to me to know that there's somebody on the other end of my iPhone. I've gotten a little too comfortable talking to myself in the basement, and I'm sure the dogs think that I've just gone crazy. So the validation is really, really important. If there are any questions that I didn't get to, I know there are, I just can't see them all right now. Please, please, please let me know. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna be really, really crazy in the next hour going through and like looking at all those comments and making sure that I've touched on a lot of stuff. Canva is such a huge platform. It's a huge software. This is not going to be my last Canva class that I put on. So if there's something specific that you want to know how to do, or if you want a one-on-one with me, I absolutely want to do that. Send us a private message on Facebook. I'll get you my contact information, and we will make sure that you guys feel comfortable using new technology like Canva. Again, this is really important. So there's a link in the description of this video. It's a survey. Please fill that out. That's so important to the goals of Square One at Mid-Continent Public Library. Obviously, we want to know what you think, and we really want to know what we can do next. So we want to know how we can get better. Maybe it's something really small, like the lighting in Hannah's basement sucks and she needs to, do better. Maybe it's something really big, like, you thought this class was going to be something completely different. Please let us know. We want to know your honest opinion. Most importantly, we just want to know your opinion on the class, good or bad. So please fill it out. We're lucky to have a grant from the Coffin Foundation, and that grant is based on some of these surveys that we get from people. So it's really, really important for us to keep our grant, and in order for us to keep that grant, we've got to get surveys from people who attend our classes. So whether you watched 5 minutes or you watched the entire 51 minutes and 19 seconds of me rambling on about my dog stepping in paint and running around my house, please fill it out. Please let me know how I did. This is a learning process for everyone, so hopefully my technology continues to get better. Let me know what you think about switching back and forth from my laptop screen to the full beautiful face. I know that there's a lot of different software out there and different platforms for me to do these presentations. So let me know what you're using, let me know what you like, and most importantly, just let me know what I can do next. We are absolutely here to help you and your business. We want to make this time a valuable time for you instead of time wasted. We don't want you to feel like, being at home or being stuck at home is something bad. We want to take the opportunity and we want to seize that opportunity. And sometimes the best way to do that is to learn something. So reach out to us. We want to connect you with all of our local partners. We want to connect you with the information you're looking for. So that being said, I'm going to try to figure out how to end this Facebook Live we've got going on. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. It really means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the library. So I'll see you next time on Tuesday, and we'll do it again. We'll have some more fun. Bye. Thank you guys.